You are listening to the Getting Lucky Mixed Martial Arts podcast, brought to you by WhatCulture.com. I am your host, Lucky Robert Curtis. Today, we would like to welcome a new guest, the finalist, runner-up on the Ultimate Fighter Smashes Season 1 in the welterweight. He fought Robert Whittaker in the finale. I'm, of course, talking about Bradley Scott. So without any further ado, here's the interview. Well, thank you, Brad, for coming on the show. The Ultimate Fighter Smashes season ended in December. First off, did you get any injuries in your fight with Robert Whittaker? Because it was a pretty brutal affair. How are you feeling now, and how have you started training again?
I've literally just started training again. In my fight with Rob, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I got caught on the ear a few times and it really swelled up. Mm-hmm. And they put a scalpel to it to release the pressure because it didn't have any needles big enough on the time for some unknown reason. They bandaged it up. The next time I come round taking the bandage off, it happened to be infected. So I had a really bad Christmas there. And I've literally just started training now.
When you and I chatted a little bit on Twitter, you said you completely agreed with my assessment that to really get top-level training, you'd have to go to America. I don't know if you were being a bit snarky with that or not, but have you considered going to America to try to expand your training horizon? I
think you'd be stupid not to. If you are going to stay in the UFC, you need to go to the United States. It's been proven by so many fighters now. I'm actually going to the States at the end of next month, beginning of March. I'm going to San Diego, Team Alliance. Mm-hmm. And then I'm intending to stay there for 10 weeks. And not only that, the main difference is that the standard of striking in the UK is fairly high. The standard of jiu-jitsu in the UK is fairly high. You've got Braulio, Hodger, loads of good guys. But in terms of wrestling and wrestling sparring, it's not on the same level as the States, and that's why I believe if you want to succeed in the UFC, you have to go to the States and train.
Yeah, and that's always been sort of the joke on British fighters that they look beautiful when they're standing, but they're kind of fish on their back. I really applaud you for that. Speaking of the UFC, have you heard from them since from the finale? It's unfortunate that the next UK card, which is Burrell versus McDonald, was on February 16th, which was so close to your fight. Have you heard from them? I mean, do you think that you'll get a shot with them for your next fight, or do you think you'll have to have a couple fights in the smaller promotions before you get a call up?
No, I'm just waiting to hear back. I got an email back from Joe Silva. He said he'll get in contact with me when he's got a fight with me. I had to explain to him I had an injury and obviously I was unable to train. So he needs to give me a fair camp so I can stay in the UFC. And that's why I'm trying to get to the States ASAP and invest in myself, as you'd like to say.
There are two welterweight fights on the UK card, which is in Wembley. If there was an injury fallout, would you be willing to step in, or do you really want to try to have a fair camp so that you can put your best foot forward for your first official UFC fight?
Well, two things. I sparred today and I gas matched for 2 rounds, so I wouldn't be fit enough. And the second thing is I'm 95 kilos, so I'm nowhere near weight. And I know both the welterweights. I train with one of them, Che Mills. He's from the same gym as I am. So it's just obviously being England is it's a small country. Everyone knows everyone. But it's a shame because I would have loved to have fought in Wembley. I mean, having the crowd on my side would have been a first for the UFC.
Yeah, I can imagine. Being that you were on The Ultimate Fighter, are you, I mean, from a fighter standpoint, when you go out or when you go to gyms, and you said you just recently restarted training, do people recognize you? Because you're sort of, I mean, there's, for instance, if you were Colin Fletcher, you'd stand out because he's a very recognizable bloke. But you kind of, have average features, brown hair, and so 6'1", not super tall, not super short. Do people recognize you? Has The Ultimate Fighter left a mark on your personal life?
Matt, I do get recognised, yeah, massively. In every gym I go to, if I let them know I'm going, more people will turn up to the gym to spar me, etc. Obviously, I'm not gonna I don't dress up as a clown. I mean, I'd never do that in the first place. I couldn't be dealing with putting fucking makeup on my face every day and shit like that. I couldn't be dealing with that. But obviously, Colin's a legit guy, but nah, that's not for me. I think I'll just stick to being a pretty average guy who trains how well. attempts to train hard and properly.
One thing about your the hard training that you mentioned is that during the fight, the commentators were calling you a baby Forrest Griffin, just because of the heart and your relentlessness. What did you think about that? Do you take that as a compliment?
Yeah, massively. I actually got a private mail off Forrest himself, actually, after that. Apparently he's been calling
wonderful.
people, saying to people that I'm his little brother, so it was amazing. I mean, I've read his book, for God's sake. It was amazing to have him actually, private mail me. It was fantastic. Given I wish I'd won the fight. I think the only mistake I think I generally made was being a tight ass and not going out to Australia for a bit longer to prepare myself. I didn't expect the jet lag to be as bad as it was. I really suffered with jet lag, and I regret massively not going out there for a week, 2 weeks longer.
Yeah, definitely. What is it? It's like every hour and time change is a full day of recovery. That's like some sort of traveler's formula.
Yeah. 12 days.
Other than being jet lagged and probably suffering a little bit with your stamina, what technical things in the fight against Rob did you see that you would have done different? One of the things that I saw him have a lot of success is that if he could go forward and combo, it seemed like he could drive you back. And I was wondering if after the fight you were thinking maybe you should have circled more when he sort of got that momentum going.
Yeah, literally as soon as I got in the change rooms, I knew what I'd done wrong. I was like, he kept doing that, the straight line karate, fitting me, and I didn't do that, what I'd been prepared to do, which is step off, circle, and counter. I just ended up going backwards, which is the worst thing to do, and that's how I ended up getting caught. Given when he did catch me in the first round, I didn't feel stunned. I didn't think it was a powerful shot. I sort of got down. He put a bit of ground and pound on me. It wasn't very effective. I stood straight back up. I never felt like I was in any danger as such. I never felt I was in any danger. I think the second round was how I trained for the fight to go. I practiced that trick all the time. Even when I'd done it, it wasn't technically correct. But it still got the job done. And I could hit my cornermen screaming, obviously, shoot, game plan, pressure. But I just didn't have it in the tank to go ahead and do that. And not only that, that's the first time I've ever been unable to do it due to gassing. I've never gassed before. Normally, my cardio, mental strength, and heart is what wins me on my fights. I normally just keep going. Oh, the guy makes a few silly mistakes. Capitalize, beat on him, lay on him, make him carry my weight, punch him some more, and then normally they give up or I get a submission.
In that first round, you said that you were retreating straight backwards. In some sense, did the fact that you were fighting for the Ultimate Fighter finale in front of probably one of the larger crowds you've ever fought, did you kind of lose yourself in the moment and then get back into it in round two?
Yeah, I did actually. I sort of like, I was concentrating so much on being relaxed when walking out to the cage, getting in the cage. My mind was all over it. When I was there, I wasn't actually focused as such. For instance, if anyone does Olympic weightlifting out there, you walk up to the bar half-hearted, you lift half-hearted. You cannot do that. I should have went there. I should have been focused. I should have been in the zone, gone up there, and fired some fucks, but I didn't. So that's only myself to blame on that first round.
Do you think going forward, now that you've been on The Ultimate Fighter, that other fighters that aren't in the UFC or that made their way into the UFC via a more traditional route will have a little bit of animosity against you? I've heard that some of the fighters that have come up through The Ultimate Fighter have gotten a little bit of prejudice, as in your road's been a bit easier than, say, their road. Have you experienced that at all?
I haven't experienced it, but I can legitimately see where they're coming from. I mean, I know a lot of guys on the UK scene. I mean, Che Mills, for instance, I know he had his chance to get on the Ultimate Fighter, and he actually lost to a heel hook to Wilkins on TUF 9, UK versus US. He fought Marius Zaromsky twice, he beat Paul Taylor. He beaten some very legit guys and only just recently got in the UFC. I mean, I can see where they're coming from. They've had to have 20 plus fights, fighting, 10 highly ranked fighters just to get a sniff in the UFC. I've got not a very good record. Walked straight into the Ultimate Fighter house, got a bit lucky with my selections, and then got to the final. So I can see when they're getting a bit angry, but at the end of the day, the job's a job. I've still got to train as hard as they have. I can still be getting partnered up with the same guys they be getting partnered up with. And I have to advance my level and be on the same level as them. So at the end of the day, we're both doing the same thing. I still have to train as hard, do all the same stuff. I think I should just man up and get on with it, really.
I think you're being a bit modest about the luckiness when you were on the tournament. You did earn Fight of the Season again in your fight against Benny Alloway. So obviously there was some heart and skill combined with luck, as you say. So personally, if you get onto the show and you fight your way through a meat grinder, fighting as often as you guys do, I figure you deserve it as much as the next guy.
Thank you.
If you could pick your first fight in the UFC, your first opponent, who would you like to fight? Who do you think would be a good matchup with you?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. I suppose I wouldn't want to fight a Division 1 wrestler, all-time champ or something like that. I wouldn't go,
yeah.
I'd probably have a rash on my ass, so I'd be on it for so long. I wouldn't mind going against a striker, I suppose, a half-decent striker. Try and go for fight of the night, try and get a knockout, stand and bang, get half-decent, or a half-decent round. I want to fight someone good, someone legit. I want to beat someone good, so I can say I've earned my place, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But everyone's good in the UFC. This is what I was trying to say to someone last night. There's no one shit in the UFC. They're in the UFC for a reason.
Yeah, and I agree with you. You can find everyone's legit, everyone's good, but you can find someone that can highlight what you're good at and still give you time to learn while being in the UFC. And like you said, facing, say, like a Division 1 wrestler right off the bat is not going to be what's probably the easiest fight for you. Facing a striker would make an exciting fight for the fans and then give you time to mature as you train in America. Well, Brad, I certainly appreciate you coming on. I'd like to stay in touch. When you do get that first fight, I'd like to, if you wouldn't mind, talk to you about the fight, see what else is coming up. I appreciate you coming on the show, and again, best of luck in the future.
Thanks very much, mate. It's been absolutely fantastic.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers, mate. Have a good one. All right, bye.
You too.